right back on because basketball is the only thing that keeps my mind off my mom, my struggles, my hard life. And I was able to go back to school, and like once I went back, I really shined. And I always say my mom was my guardian angel because I went turned into an All-American in basketball. And I really didn't have those skills before. So I believe it was definitely my mom was my guardian angel. And right from there, not only that, I went and got a master's degree because that 1 year I sat out from not passing my SATs. The school said, will you stay in and pass, and will you go to grad school and play here? And somehow, don't ask me how, you guys, as a kid who went to summer school every year, I got a master's degree in 1 year. So now here's a kid who struggles her whole life, came from nothing, 22 years old, I'm on the police department. And once I went on the police department, my career just blossomed. Within 3 years, I was a sergeant because all the tools I learned on the basketball court, I carried on into the police department. Teamwork, believing in yourself, working hard, making others surround you and be better. I think it excelled me. And within 10 years in the police department, I was a deputy, the youngest deputy in the history of the Boston Police, the only female. To fit in as a young Black female, the only female with 10 years on, with people with, almost 65 years old with 35 years on, I was able to maintain my own because of the basketball skills that I learned and because of, I believe, my mom just being my guardian angel and looking out for me the whole time. And no matter how hard the struggle was, I always had her in my head saying I could do anything I put my mind to, work harder, and she always has been in my mind. And then 3 years ago, I was named the 4th female superintendent of the department. Once again, I give all credit to my guardian angel, which is my mom, and also my basketball team, who I'm still like this with, who still, when I struggle and have a hard time with work, I call them, they all pick up the phone, they are my rock, they always been my rock, and that's why I think you need to surround yourself around a good foundation, like 3Point Foundation is your family. UMass Lowell will always be my family. And moving on to the police department, I try to bring that same concept to what I learned on the basketball court to any unit that I run or any bureau. And right now, as you guys know, I run the Bureau of Community Engagement, very small unit, but I'm very involved because I believe that you have to be involved and you have to be very in tune with the people around you. And right now, my guys and my team, we are doing amazing work about building relationships in the community, changing lives for young kids. And the one thing that I would always say is that we bring the power of our badge to change kids' lives, because I know I would not be sitting here without people in my life that have helped me along this journey. It would be absolutely impossible that I even got to where I'm at. And I told you the 10-minute version, it's really a 10-hour version. But the main points is that I had so many people that picked me up and were there for me, that like absolutely losing my mom and losing basically everything that I believed in and wanted to live, my will to even survive. When it left, it made me stronger and made me successful. And every day I think she's looking at me, and everything I do is a reflection of her. And I know she'll always say that, like she's proud of me, whether she's in heaven, and I feel like she's here every day. And I want you guys to all know, whoever your rock is in your community, which is 3Point Foundation, they're always gonna be with you in life. I know you guys are young people now, but I'm 48 years old, and my college teammates are still my rock. My coach is still, I call her coach, and she's everything to me. So I hope that sums up how my journey I got from A to B.
Hello, Nora Baston. My name is Julia Barrows. I am a student at the King School. I'm going to 8th grade, and Mikkel will introduce you to. We're going to be talking about some data we did on this survey about police brutality and questions.
Hi, my name is Mikkel Clark. I'm going to 8th grade, and I go to Roxbury Park, Dorchester campus.
We have to understand, as a department, we have a history of all these things that you see is legit and real. I know right now we might be where we're at, but we have histories, and the parents and grandparents and uncles, my dad, they don't feel that way. So we can't just erase history and say, well, look at us, great, we're here, we want to build relationships. It doesn't work that way. So I do understand how people, where they come from. Because like I said, I became a cop because the cop in my neighborhood did not talk to us. We're just playing football, throwing a football. We're going to get arrested. I'm like, who's this guy? I actually became a cop because I said, I'm not going to be that person. So the history of that, and the best thing was I became his boss, okay? So that's how you get them back. Right?
The question was, do you think the police need racial bias training, and 100% of group 3 and like the rest of the groups answered yes, which kind of shows how like everything that's going on in the world, everybody feels like all the police at least need like some type of training, all races, so that they can understand where other people are coming from, so that they don't just jump to conclusions.
Oh, I can't agree 100% even more, because a lot of people ask what one of the problems is, and if you have police departments, nothing against the military, because my family, my dad's a vet, my sister's a vet, we wouldn't be having this conversation if the military wasn't fighting for us right now. But a lot of the officers are from the military, okay? A lot of the officers are not from Boston, or just officers in general. And if you're not from your neighborhood, you have military training, and you don't have this type of training in between, and you don't really know your neighborhood, bias, it's just a natural thing that you don't even realize that you have. We as commanders just had a bias training just on the command staff level, and we were all shocked at how much even myself had a lot of bias. So the bias training, you can't get enough of it. So I think 100% you need a lot of bias training, but it's not a 1 hour session. It's ongoing training from the time you're a cadet, ongoing when we do in-service, and it's, like you said, it's a reflection of what we see around, that we need that more than anything. So I agree with you, the commissioner, the mayor, everyone on this one. It's just a matter of like, what does that mean? What does that look like?
My name is Asire Miller. Thank you for being here today, and I appreciate it that you came here today and you told your story. Thank you so much. It was really heartwarming, and I'm happy that you told us your story. And I go to the John D. O'Brien, an exam school, and I'm really excited to talk about the questions that we did. Okay, so the first question we did was, do you feel threatened when you are stopped by a police officer? 80% said sometimes, and 20% said never. So that is really high. 80% is really high. And can you give your opinion on basically this whole estimate?
Yeah. So I'm going to assume what, even earlier when you guys were talking with the first survey, all of these questions and answers, I feel it's because in Boston, we do an amazing job, but obviously our narrative is not strong, right? Because you guys, first of all, don't have your own story to tell about your experience with police officers. So you have to go by another narrative, which is the national television. And I have this argument with the cops all the time. We as departments, all of us, are very upset that you're basing it on like what's happening in Ohio, Oregon, all these other areas, right? You'll hear every cop say it. But I always say to them, well, they have nothing to compare it to. If we don't make our own narrative, they have to go by what they see on TV. Or if our own narrative isn't very stronger than that one. So if you kind of like this response here, there's kind of, you might know 5 cops, you don't know the department as a whole. Can you name 5 officers' names and tell me their cell phone number right now? You guys are gonna say no. So all those things we don't do a good enough job at. So I'm not surprised at that, because I think that as a department, we need to make that you guys all have your own story. So when they ask their question, they're all gonna say, absolutely not, because I know this one, this one, this one. I work with them, he's my coach, I'm in this program, and I don't think we do a good enough job of it, especially at a younger age, because I think building relationships should start at kindergarten and really build up there. So by that way, you already know my name, you know my dog's name, you have my cell phone number. And the point that you guys, a lot of you seem like you don't have that. You don't know that officer, that one-on-one that you could text me at 10 o'clock at night, or that officer. This is why you feel that way, because you don't know them. So I'm not surprised at that.
Like I say, I feel like the bad always like outrules the good. Like if you do something good, it has to be really good to outweigh the bad. And it's really hard. I know there's so many good cops out there, and they have to do something like save somebody from a well or something like
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's good.
But every time we do that, you go home and you put the TV on. Like I'll walk around the community all night with Father Conway, and I'm like, kids are saying, oh great, and I come home and there's another story that we're getting out way too much. And that's why I think that we find ourselves in the place we are now. And as police departments, we can't get upset that everyone else is watching TV and we're like, but not us in Boston. But we are police officers and people feel it in history and parents, it brings back all that trauma. It brings back all those negative experiences. I got pulled over. I showed my badge and that I'm a superintendent. The cop still made me wait, asked for backup. And in my eyes, the backup guy must have said, this is a superintendent. The cop, I feel because I was a black female sitting in a nice car, he thought something different. I know how it feels. It's real. It's real. So just know it happens to me as well. So these are amazing questions.
So this is the next question. Do you think that police should undergo social emotional training? And 80% said always, and 20% said sometimes. So what do you think about this?
So that's the part that I don't think we have that training. And I think it's important because we have to put blinders on and act like that's where that military thing comes in. You cut every emotion off. You don't have, and that's why I think, like I said, my friends always call me the cop who isn't the real cop. Like I'll put on Waze that there's a cop up on the highway and they're like, did you just notify people there's a cop on the highway? They're like, you're the most non-real cop. I'm like, no, I have empathy. I know what it feels like to be stopped. I think to the cops' role, because I'm always fighting for my officers to do the same, to how can we get more active in your life? Like, how come you guys don't know? How many people here on it, youth, know the cop, have their cell phone, know them right now, they can call them and they'll pick them up at their house and go take them to lunch and get a new pair of sneakers? Does anyone here have that relationship with a cop right now, that you feel that close?
Write it in the chat or say it, guys.
To the point that you guys aren't like, yeah, me, that's a problem. So like, how do we get the officers to build closer relationships with the youth? Now, I always believe sports in the beginning because everyone wants to play basketball. And through my career, that's what I did in the beginning. I showed up at 10 o'clock at night, plain clothes. I knew I had the credibility because I had some game, and I said, I got next. And I actually brought my white friends that weren't cops, but I knew they thought the community was going to think they were cops because they were white, because I could not get cops in the beginning to play ball with me. This is going on 15 years ago. And we built a relationship that way. So I think sports is an easy way because every kid wants to play a sport, even if they want to beat us and it's not friendly, right? But you break the ice. So do you think we need to like play more sports with you? What's ways that we can start having police officers build relationships with this age group? Because this age group's kind of hard. The little kids think we're rock stars. The kindergarten kids, they're like not, it's this age group. The older kids already have their ways, their set mind, but this is a group we have to really influence and get to know. Because you guys are at that breaking point of like, you're the future, you know? So what can we do better as a department? What do you think? Some of you guys might be great ball players, but it's really not. If you guys think 3 points about basketball, that's how they get you in, because ball is going to get you all interested. But look at now, you're here listening to me. I sat every Friday on a guest speaker that was telling a story. So indirectly, you guys have to do this as part of the basketball, but your grades have to be up, right? So they're doing exactly what we are trying to do, but they're using sports. And that's how I think the easy thing, because a lot of young men and young girls want to be in sports, because sports also teaches you a lot of tools about practice and hard work and your team, and you know what I mean? So like, this program is exactly what we try to run in the department. In my bureau, like I said, we're not big, there's only 8 of us, but we have 98 kids that we have employed. And not only that, the 14-year-olds and 13-year-olds that we can't pay, we went to foundations and got $20,000 each for each foundation. So each young kid, because I know even more you'll be on doing the virtual if you're getting paid, right? So you're getting paid, you're playing sports. We do the same philosophy as 3-Point, but guess who we are? We're just Boston Police. But you guys don't know that narrative, and that's a problem. Now you know that narrative if you go on my Twitter account, my Instagram account, but if you go on BPD narrative, I don't know. This alone is more partnership, and right before the COVID, we were in the schools and seeing you. So I believe that even though we're on this, we're still maintaining a relationship, and we just need to keep it going. But my goal is that in 4 years, you're texting me, let's go get new sneakers for school. And that's how much I know that I'm like, are you doing the work? Let's go. Because that's how much our relationship is, you know, and that's what I hope, that you all have that one cop that's the mentor